Undoubtedly a must-have for summer. The most citrus heavy in its own line, and just an absolute delight when it's nice and hot outside. I'm talking about Y Eau Fraiche from Yves Saint Laurent. Stay tuned. And starting off with the box, standard Y-line fare, just a different color scheme here. It's a much lighter blue with white around the sides, matching the color theme on the bottle. Name of the fragrance, this is a 60 ml bottle. You have a barcode here on the side, yslbeauty.com, YSL embossed in the top of the box, and a batch code stamped on the bottom. Random fragrance information on the back, but nothing special on the box. Now with this bottle, in my opinion, hands down the coolest bottle in the line. This white frosted gradient design with the white cap just looks cool. And it's not completely white, it's like a super sky blue kind of color that goes to the white. It's awesome. It definitely looks cool in my opinion. And you have the YSL embossed on top of the cap. You do have some texturing around the white of the cap. Fragrance information on the sticker on the bottom. It does click into place, and it does have a pretty good atomizer. Let's talk about this scent. So in the opening, you're getting punched in the nose with lemon. Lemon, ginger, a little hit of the pepper, and this touch of mintiness, because there is some mint, there is some geranium, and when you see both of those in here, you would think it's going to be an extremely minty fragrance, though it's actually a very light minty tone, kind of supporting it in the background, adding some freshness to it, because you have that bright, crisp opening of the ginger, the bright citrus of the lemon. The lemon and ginger, the way they work here, they really support one another, and the lemony warmth comes out. That because ginger can have a bit of a spicy lemon type of smell to it, and it really comes out. It's really in the forefront here. That's what makes this lemon smell never go away. It's here pretty much the whole life of the fragrance. Even though the lemon note itself isn't what's staying the whole way, I believe it's that ginger that allows it to stay lemony from start to almost the very end of the life of the fragrance. I love a good ginger note, and it's very well done here. It warms it up quite a bit for being a super fresh fragrance, an Eau Fraiche flanker that's known to be citrus dominant. It's quite warm. It's a warm lemon for the first 2 to 3 hours, I would say. That's pretty much the smell, and then the ginger starts to take a bit of a backseat, and you're going to get a little bit of, not much of this olibanum note that's in there. I never really pick up any smoky incense type of smell or anything. I never get that from this, but that slight mintiness hangs out. And I do detect a little bit of that ambergris sage DNA that the Y-line is known for. Even though it's not in the note breakdown, I still kind of detect it. Even as early as the opening blast, I get a little bit of a sage smell that's kind of the thumbprint of the Y-line. This is still a blue fragrance, just a more ginger lemon type of blue fragrance than your standard fare. Very, very lovely. Average performer, which we'll discuss here in a little bit, but the scent profile on this one now, not some mold breaking, oh my god type of smell. It's not overly synthetic, which is surprising for this line because it's really an ambergris dominant DNA. The ambergris is not overdone in here. Like I said, even though it's not in the note breakdown, I still smell it, that salty ambergris smell. This one's pretty well rounded and smooth for being an Eau Fraiche flanker that should be dominated by freshness, you know, just a few hours of longevity, but mega fresh and super light and airy. It's actually not that. It's warm, it's a little spicy, it's a little minty fresh, and it's just dominated by a lemon smell. Really, really lovely. Not what I expected the first time I smelled it, and as I spent more and more time with it, I just became more head over heels about it and have fallen deeply in love with it. This is one that is a must try, in my opinion. I urge you to sample it because it doesn't smell like everything, but doesn't smell super unique either. Let's get into the performance. Believe it or not, it actually doesn't perform as well as the Eau de Toilette for me. With the eau de toilette, I can get anywhere from 6 to 8 hours of longevity. With this one, I get more so in the 5 to 6 hour range, which I'm totally okay with for an Eau Fraiche flanker. That's actually really well. That's really good performance from a longevity standpoint for that. They're not a bank breaking type of price range from discounters online, so I wasn't expecting it to be some 10-hour fragrance. I never had that in my mind when I wanted to try this one the first time. I actually expected it to perform worse than it actually performs for me. It's in line with the eau de toilette's performance, just slightly less, right in that average range, not even to below average, just straight up average longevity, and I'm okay with that. For the scent profile, it suits it very well. Now, in terms of projection, it's very bright up top. It does have a strong airy type of quality. It's very aromatic. That's where the lavender really comes in. While not a dominating lavender smell, that's why I really didn't discuss much about lavender when I was talking about the scent portion in the review. It does have an aromatic quality where it really gets up in the air. It's slightly ozonic. It's light enough to where it really gets out there, especially if there's a breeze or well-circulated room. Any of those factors that would help it really get out and into the air very easily. It's one of those fragrances that, not a room filler, but not a skin scent either. It's right in that average range, somewhere in the neighborhood of an arm's length, few feet out type of fragrance in that first hour and a half to maybe even the 2-hour realm, which I think is kind of pushing it, more so in the hour and a half range. And then it does sit a bit close to the skin, obviously, after that point. The strength of the projection dies out somewhere around 1.5 to 2 hours. And then still very detectable. Still gets out in the air. Like I said, it's light and airy enough to where you will have a very mild scent trail. If somebody's downwind from you, a few feet out, they should be able to smell you. And it's one that doesn't really become a skin scent on me till about the 6-hour mark. So I would say it really dies off in that 5 to 6 hour range, and it's not really going to push out. But up until about the 5-hour mark, I still get wafts on my skin. I'll take a step back or whatever, and I'll get a whiff, or I like to spray my chest. I'll check myself like this from time to time just to gauge how the fragrance is still doing, or if it's on my arm, I'll smell my arm and check myself. But that's me. I'm always reviewing something, so I'm that weirdo that's walking around constantly checking my fragrance. But nothing special in performance, average across the board in my opinion, but it's what I expected. It's actually better than I expected it to be for it being an Eau Fraiche flanker. Final thoughts on why Eau Fraiche. This is bordering that must-buy territory in my opinion. Absolutely a must-try. Hands down, I rate it a must-try fragrance. I think you need to sample this one. It's not redundant in its own collection. The redundancy falls into when you get into the EDT and the EDP and the Intense. There can be some redundancy there, while this one has enough difference because it's such a lemon-heavy fragrance versus the rest of them, where they're mostly all about sage and ambergris and stuff like that. This, you still pick that up a little bit, but it's all about lemon and ginger for the most part, to my nose on this one. So I say it's bordering must buy. I think this is one that's absolutely worth having for this summer. This is a must add to your collection, in my opinion, but I can see where some people won't care to get it to their collection. If they sample it, it might underwhelm them. That's why I say it's absolutely a must try, bordering must buy. I'm not gonna quite label it as a must buy, but I think it's delightful. It's an awesome addition to the line, and I can't wait to see where they go from here. I haven't tried the Le Parfum yet, but the Eau Fraiche flanker was a very welcomed flanker. This is how you do it right, in my opinion. It changed it enough without making it too similar or too different. This is the right way to do a flanker, in my opinion. Well, that's my thoughts and feelings on why Eau Fraiche from YSL. And until next time, do me a real quick favor. Go ahead and like, comment, subscribe, because I do appreciate all the feedback and I love hearing from you guys. How many of you already have a bottle of this or have tried it before and it wasn't really your cup of tea? That's okay. That's going to happen. For me, I think this is an awesome fragrance. While not my favorite in the line, I think it's well done, and it's the way a flanker should be done, essentially, where it still has some similarities. It doesn't veer too off the path of the base DNA, but it doesn't make it completely different. It's different, but not completely different. That's the right way to do a flanker, in my opinion. And until next time, I will say, if you get your hands on Y Eau Fraiche from Yves Saint Laurent, you give it a spray now, you might end up thanking me later. Have a good one, guys.